Hello, this is Dr. Charles Foster with Fostering Wellness. We have locations in Brandon, Rutland, Randolph, and Springfield, Vermont. And I'm excited to be with you today to bring you another in our video webinar series. This one have entitled Think. And so I would like to go ahead and jump right in and start talking about positive thoughts and what they mean to our success. Essentially, one of the things we have to understand is that positive thoughts are not enough. There have to be positive feelings and positive actions associated with these positive thoughts. Because intellectually, we actually know a lot of the things we're supposed to do. And we can think positively about it. But if we don't change our brain and change our habits and make ourselves become a different person, we're not going to do those things. And that requires positive actions and feelings. There's a wonderful sounding quote from John Lennon of the Beatles. He said this, he says, "Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end." Now, I want to say that basically, I don't think that that's true. I don't think that's correct, because I said that was a wonderful sounding quote, but the fact of the matter is we know people who in the end, their outcome wasn't good. We know people who desired better, but their health wasn't as good as it should be. And in the end, it didn't turn out right for them. And we know people who desired and had positive thoughts about their relationships, but the relationships came to an end, and there was never reconciliation. And we know people who had high hopes and high aspirations and positive thinking for their businesses, but it didn't necessarily turn out well for them. And so it is not just a matter of wishing upon a star, if you will. Because basically, we don't live in a Disney World. If you wish upon a star, nothing happens, really. And so, again, I want to go back. I do not want to dissuade you or debunk the idea that positive thinking is an important thing, because it is a very important thing. Fact is, to tell you that it isn't would be a contradiction of how I practice in my life and how we practice in our practices. We start every day with affirmations, and we set our day on course by reaffirming for ourselves what our mission is and who we want to serve. And then we talk about the positive person that we want to be, that we endeavor to be each and every day as we are working in our practice. And it helps shape the attitudes and behaviors that we have throughout the rest of the day. So positive thinking is very important, but it is not the only thing. So before we go too far, I would like to introduce for you two ladies. I've got two different stories, and you'll see why the story is important here in a little bit. But I want to tell you the story of two different women and their self-talk. Their self-talk actually is a story of itself. But basically, we have Mary, who is a 39-year-old woman. She has two children. The age is 11 and 7, and she's happily married, and she works as an administrative assistant for a law firm, and she's 25 pounds overweight. We also have Joanna, who is 38 years old. She also has two children. The ages of those children are 12 and 8. She also is happily married, and she works as a high school guidance counselor, and she's 25 pounds overweight. Both Mary and Joanna decide that it's time to begin to lose some weight. The spring is coming, summer is coming, and they want to lose some weight. And so they plan on going on a diet. But I want to share with you what these ladies said. Mary said, "Dieting is so hard. Dieting is so limiting. I have tried everything and nothing works." Basically, she has a story that informs her behaviors, that it's hard, it's difficult, it's hard to find tasty food from the healthy food groups. It's hard to find good nourishment and satisfaction and a sense of satiation or filling with eating the good, healthy foods. The healthy foods aren't as sweet. Okay, so that's her self-limiting, destructive belief. And I like this cartoon that I found when I was preparing this. You see these three ladies looking out over the beach, and one of the ladies opines to the other, "Dieting is hard, girls. Today I ordered a cupcake without the sprinkles." She's doing a good thing. It just wasn't as good. her story is that that you can't go on a diet without eating cupcakes, and so she's going to make the hardship, and she's going to cut back on corners with sprinkles. And you know as well as I do, that's not going to affect her and affect change in her life at all. And then Joanna, she basically says, I'm so excited to eat healthy, nutritious foods. I'm going to increase my energy for my children, and I can't wait to wear a bikini this summer. Now, she has an alternate belief. She believes that if she eats healthy, nutritious foods, she's going to have more energy. She believes that they're tasty. She believes that there's a large basket of foods that are available to her that she can pick and choose from, and that she can satisfy her sweet tooth, and she can get the carbs in, and she can get the proteins in, and that she can make a healthier, more attractive, more aesthetically pleasing body. So those are the two thoughts. Now, I want to ask you this question. Which one of these two ladies is going to be more successful? Which one is going to be able to put on their bikini at the end of the summer? Now, before you answer that question, I want to move on, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit later. So the next thing I want you to, what we're going to do over the next few minutes is describe why positive thinking isn't enough in your life, okay? So first thing what we need to do, though, is we need to take a look at our lives and then just find out, what do we even desire from our lives? What do you want from your life? Have you thought about it? Basically, clarity affords focus. So thinking about it, take a moment to be quiet and think about what you really, really want allows you to focus on that particular thing and begin to acquire it. Now, for instance, let's say that you want to go on a road trip. You wanted to go to the Grand Canyon, okay? It would be helpful to know how far it is to the Grand Canyon, and it would be helpful to know how far you can drive in a day. And so how many nights will you have to spend on the road in a hotel or at a campground? And you'd want to know how much gas costs, and you'd want to know what your mileage in your car is, and so how many times you have to fill up. And so you'd have to be able to anticipate how much you're going to spend on gas and food and on lodging in order to get there. And you'd want to be able to budget your time every day so that you got there at your predetermined time. Get there within a few hours or within a day or so of when you originally planned to get there. That'd be one way. The other way would just to be sort of meander and say, I hope someday I'd like to see the Grand Canyon. And you just get on the road and you just start driving and you meander here and you get taken over there. You look at that. That looks good. So I'll go over and do this, and I'll go over and do this. And oh, we're going to go see the caverns on the way, and we'll do that. We're going to go see the waterfall on the way. And those aren't necessarily bad things to do. But if you only have so much time in which to do it, knowing how far the Grand Canyon is and how much time you have on your vacation, you know that you need to be rather intentional about getting there in a certain amount of time. Our life is kind of like that. We only have so much time. Instead, we kind of go here and go there, and we end up spending a lot more time going here and going there and taking a lot more time to get there, and spending a lot more money and redistribution of all of our resources because we haven't maintained our focus. So I think that this statement from Thomas Leonard is really, really important for us. So what is it that you want in your life? Where are you going to put your where is it you're going to put your focus? Is it going to be on your bank account? Is it going to be that you want to have $1 million in your savings account? Is it that you want to retire with $1 million or $2 million, or what is it that you need to retire? You need to think about that. What is it that you need to be doing in your career? Because the career that you choose may have an effect on that. Do you want to have more meaningful relationships in your family? So you're going to spend more time with them. You're going to figure out where you're going to take family trips, and you're going to figure out how you're going to substitute television time and put in game time and hiking time and play time and travel time and those kind of things. You might have some health goals. You might want to be your ideal weight. You might want to be at 15% body fat. You might want to be able to see your abs. You might want to be able to do 20 chin-ups and 100 push-ups. You might want to win a bodybuilding contest. You might just want to look sexy in a bathing suit. What is your goal? And then there are some steps that you can take to get there. I like these two statements. One, my goal is to build a life I don't need a vacation from. Now, wouldn't that be interesting that we could have a life that we enjoy so much every single day, that we have passion about every single day, that we don't really feel like we need a vacation? The other one is, I like this because I think in terms of a legacy. We all die. The goal isn't to live forever because no one's going to do that. So it's a ridiculous goal. You might live longer as a result of achieving some goals. But the goal is to create something that will. And so that fascinates me, that idea of in my own situation, helping to build a business that will long outlive my own time on this earth. So those are things that sort of inform my actions on a daily basis. So we talked about those ladies' stories, the two stories. So what's the story that's ruling your life? For instance, those ladies, one of them said her story and experience was that dieting is hard. The other one, her experience is that dieting is exciting and it's full of opportunity. You see, life is like that. Life is what it is. Everything in life is what it is, and then we assign meaning to it, okay? For instance, I have a couple of examples from my own life. A number of years ago, I was involved in helping the state of Vermont and the chiropractic profession get into Blue Cross Blue Shield with what we call insurance equality. And about 10, 12 years later, I had something of a disagreement with them, and we kind of parted ways. And it wasn't my choice initially to part ways. And so my story, when we parted ways, it was I told the story from the point of view of a victim, and that was my story. And I was hurt by that. I had been wronged by that. They had abused their position when they terminated our relationship, and that was a story I told, and I told it to a bunch of people. But eventually, I turned around and I thought of it more as an opportunity. So I began to tell a different story, and the story is that, hey, this situation now allows me to move into a more of a wellness kind of practice, a practice that is more congruent with how I live and how I take care of my family. This being outside the insurance thing allows me to have what is, oftentimes in healthcare would be the holy grail of practice models, to be a more cash dependent and less insurance dependent. I don't have an insurance adjuster or a nurse somewhere in another part of the state telling me how to run my practice or telling me how to take my notes. And so it was an opportunity, and it allowed me to reshape my practice and grow it in a different fashion. So I went from a story where life happened to me to a story where life happened for me. And or because of me, because I changed my attitude, I changed my story. And I have another quick example of that. Basically, I have two chiropractic friends who practice here in the same town that I do. And one of them, he and I have been friends for 30 years. And I count him as a good friend, and even has mentored me at times. And recently, he has changed his practice focus from one which is primarily chiropractic and one that is more of a pain-based practice into a practice that also does weight loss. And he seems to have shifted a lot of his energy and a lot of his attention onto this weight loss thing. And he's helping lots of people. He's helped people lose, in this community, thousands of pounds. And so it's a good thing. But at first I was disappointed in that he had sort of kind of in some ways left what I thought was the appropriate thing to do it in the marketplace. And then I looked at it from the point of view like, hey, he has kind of left that chiropractic niche open for me. So it's an opportunity for me to sort of drive my bus through that big old opening, that big gate now. And I have an opportunity to tell my story because he's somewhat left that part of the playing field, at least in my mind. It's just a story I'm telling myself. So it's an opportunity. Conversely, I have another friend who opened up a practice just a couple of blocks from me, and these friends actually practice very much like me. So I could think, oh my goodness, I've got competition, and they do exactly what I do, and so the world is going to be bad, and my business is going to suffer, and so forth. But instead of thinking life is happening to me, I'm thinking life is happening for me because I'm saying, wow, that's awesome. I've got somebody else in the community right around the corner who I can depend upon, someone right around the corner who teaches the same thing that I do, who practices the same thing that I do. So now there's multiple mouths out there talking and educating and saying the same thing, and that's good for me. That's good for both of us. That's good for our business because we are congruent in what we're talking and telling people chiropractic is about. So on the one end, I have someone who changes their practice, and instead of thinking of it in terms of a disappointing thing or whatever, I looked at it as something that was happening for me. I have an opportunity. And another person who practices just like me, and I'm thinking of it as an opportunity because it's happening for me because now I'm on the same page as the other person. So we give meaning to everything that happens to us in our life. That's what we always do. So for instance, one of your goals might be to become a millionaire, but you're incongruent with that because you're worried that being a millionaire will cost you something. You see, you believe that having $1 million in your bank account would be a good thing, but it's going to cost you something because being a millionaire means you have to lie, you have to cheat, you have to steal. You have to steal time away from your families. You have to cheat people who are friends and neighbors, and you're going to have to spend so much time in your office, in your workplace, in order to acquire that you're going to lose your family. You're going to end up in a divorce, and then you're going to be estranged from your children. And so, on the one hand, you want this, but your story says that if you get that, you're going to lose all these other things. So, wow, it's no wonder you're not getting what you want. Or you might say that I want to have a much more meaningful relationship with my family, a much more meaningful relationship with my wife. Pardon me. But what your other story is that to have a meaningful relationship with my family, I'm going to have to give up golf. I'm going to have to give up bowling. I'm going to have to give up hunting. I'm going to have to give up training my dog. And I'm going to have to give up other friendships. And so I'm just not going to have time for my wife and my friends. I'm not going to have time for my kids and my friends. And so I'm not going to have time to develop my business. And so I'm responsible for my business. And so I can't spend time over here with these kids because I'm trying to leave them something. And so we've got these incongruent stories, and we've given this meaningful relationship some kind of meaning that isn't necessarily accurate. It's not working for us. Okay? So there's a very good chance your story is either empowering you to success or it's disempowering you to your success. You might have the example that your own father was a millionaire and he was an entrepreneur, had his own business, and that having his own business cost him his family. And so you're from a broken home because your father was working to become a millionaire, and so you don't want that to happen to you. Okay? So it's absolutely essential in this step 2 that you figure out what your story is. What is your block? What is the thing that's keeping you back from becoming the person that you want to be? So the next thing is you need to access, I'm sorry, I left off something here. Essentially, what I've been talking about is what Mahatma Gandhi mentioned here. Man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If I keep on saying to myself that I cannot do a certain thing, it is possible that I may end by really becoming incapable of doing it. On the contrary, if I have the belief that I can do it, I shall surely acquire the capacity to do it, even if I may not have it at the beginning. I think it's a mouthful statement, but there's a lot of truth in that as well. So the next thing we need to do is we need to access our drive. We need to figure out why it's important for us to do any of these things, to set goals and to accomplish these goals in the first place. You see, one of the most powerful things you have is why you do what you do. Why do you want to do what you do? So you need to use this drive, this burning thing inside you to your benefit, to be a driving force, an indestructible force. But you got to figure out what it is for you. So to that end, I like this quote by Mark Twain. He says, the two most important days in your life are the day that you were born and the day you find out why. Okay? So 2 days. The day we're born, and then to figure out why we're on this planet. So you need to ask yourself, was I put here to write poetry? Was I here to write great books? Was I here to be a great orator? Was I here to invent things? Am I here to serve things? Am I here to build things? Am I here to build beautiful homes for people? Am I here to take care of people's cars? That's my passion. I like to make sure that people are driving in safe automobiles. Is your passion to heal? Is it to be someone in the healing arts so that you can help people to live better lives? Is your passion to coach? What is it? Because the great thing, the second greatest day in your life is when you know why you're supposed to be here. I know that I'm supposed to be a chiropractor. I have known since I was a little boy that I wanted to be a chiropractor. My chiropractor that I was going to at the time looked like the guy who was having the most fun. As I watched him, he looked like the man having the most fun. And I wanted to be that guy. And when I heard the things that he was doing and saw the people he was caring for and literally witnessed some of the miraculous changes people had in their lives, I wanted to be that guy. So very, very important for you to figure out why you were here. And that will help inform why you might become a millionaire at it, for example, or why it might be important for you to improve your relationship life, your health status, and so on. So the next thing is what we need to do is we need to change your story. And basically, Henry Ford said it in a much more succinct way than Mahatma Gandhi. He said, if you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, you're right. That is a very short, bulleted version of what Mahatma Gandhi said. But you need to figure out if you're going to say you can or say you can't. You want to change your mind and say, I think I can or I think I can't. And understand that either way you're right. So your story needs to include the version and exclude, it needs to include the version where it says, I think I can, I know I can. And it needs to exclude the version that says, I think I can't. And figure out what gives this particular meaning. So, for instance, we would say the old story is, I want to become a millionaire, but when I do, I'll have to become selfish and greedy and insulated, and it will cost me my friends and my relationship, and I'll lose all the people I care about. Or you can change that story and say, I can become a millionaire, and when I do, I'm going to have the ability to share with people all over the world. I'm going to have the ability to help people who are less fortunate than me. I'm going to be able to share my success with people. I'm going to be able to share my success with my children and leave them an inheritance. I'm going to be able to model for my children what it is to be a generous and giving and loving person. And as I have more available to me, I can continuously be more generous, and I can show my kids how to do that. I can be a role model. I can help them accomplish their goals, and I can become a better husband. I can become a better doctor because I can be more free with all the things that I have. As a better husband, I can begin to take my wife on the vacations that we didn't take. I can take her on the second and third and fourth honeymoons if I like. The same person on these multiple honeymoons. But the idea is that because I have done this and accomplished these things in my life, I have more free time to do other things and to improve my relationship. So rather than harming my relationship, it can improve my relationships. It gives me an opportunity to get away. So we need to banish the story of limitations over here, and we need to accept the story of limitless abundance on this side. Now, in order to be successful, we have to look at rituals for success. There are things that people just do that are tried and true in order to become successful. And so I want to just talk about those for a second. Basically, Benjamin Franklin is a good example. He wrote, I rise early almost every morning and sit in my chamber without any clothes whatever, half an hour or an hour according to the season, either reading or writing. This practice is not in the least painful, but on the contrary, agreeable. And if I return to bed afterwards, before I dress myself, as sometimes happens, I make a supplement to my night's rest of 1 or 2 hours of the most pleasing sleep that can be imagined. So one of his success rituals, and we would have to agree he was successful, we might mention that in a second, but he would get up in the morning and he would read and write. He would read books of great importance, books about world history, books about there were biographies of famous people, and he would read the classics of the time. And so he was very well versed in language and oratory and in thought, and so he read all those things. But he also spent time writing, and we can presume that he wrote down things that he was thinking about his business, his printing. He wrote down ideas he had with regard to science, ideas that he had with regard to art. And of course, he was one of the founding members of our country, so he was probably writing arguments out for why we should form this government, this republic, this United States of America. He was writing those things out so he could articulate them later on. And he was writing letters to people to advance this cause. And this man, living when he did, is still one of the most traveled men of all time. I mean, you can get on an airplane and get millions of miles, but you can do that and not have the experiences that he did. When he was alive, there were horses, and you went by foot or horseback or carriage or boat. And that was how he did it. And he visited some of the major continents, and he went to almost every area in New England where battles of the Revolutionary War were fought, and he met nearly all the principles of our founding government. An amazing, amazing man. So these were the things he was contemplating, I'm sure, in his first 2 hours, and then he would go back to bed and let his subconscious work as he took that 2 hour to 2 hour nap. And letting his subconscious work on that stuff was an amazing thing for him because it solidified and it helped bring things to fruition. So we can borrow from him, and we can start thinking in terms of these rituals of success. One is meditation. We need to put some time in our life where we meditate or pray or meditate and meditate, whatever. But we need to have some time by ourselves. Now, you need to get up earlier in order to do this, most likely, or need to go to bed later in order to do this, most likely. But because during the middle of the day, it's a very hard thing to do unless you have a quiet space at lunch. And you might say, well, I don't have a quiet space. Well, get up earlier and go to work earlier and sit at your desk before you turn on your computer. Don't check your emails. Don't check Facebook. Shut off your device. Just spend some time contemplating what you want out of life and how your day should go. And what kind of things can you do today that will move you towards the life of your dreams? Okay, you might need to sit in your car. If there's people already at work when you get there, you might need to just sit in your car and shut off the radio and think about these things. Or if that doesn't work, when you pull into your driveway before you go into the house and meet the kids and take the dog for a walk, you might just meditate and pray in your car for those 10 minutes. Or you might take the dog for a walk in the woods and take that time and just meditate and think about what's going to happen in your day. Very, very important part of getting clear about what your dreams are how you're going to realize your dreams. The other thing is to write and journal. And so write down your goals and write down what you want to accomplish and write what your life is going to look like and write how it feels to have accomplished a goal, and what's the next thing you're going to do once you've accomplished these things. Begin to write the story of your life, and then come backwards and begin to write down the things that you need to do in order to get from here. Start planning. If I want to get to here, going back to our driving analogy, if I want to get to the Grand Canyon, the first thing I need to do is I need to make sure that I have a car that works. And so I'm going to make sure that that's happening. I'm going to have enough money in my bank account so I can buy gas. So I need to plan that up and save it up so I can get started, and then pick a date that I start, and then I go. And we could do that whether we're starting a business or whether we're starting an adventure or starting an education process. We just need to write down how it's going to look, because when we write it down, it's much more likely to occur for us. We need to set aside some time for play. We need to play with our kids. We need to play with our wives. We need to play with our grandkids. We need to go and do things by ourselves. One of the things I like doing right now is I like to go and just work and train my dog by myself. It's a fun and rewarding thing. It's off of my business, and it allows me to think about other things and just relax. And yet I'm still, my mind is still thinking about the business in the background, but it's not a conscious effort. And so things come to me in the middle of my walk with my dog, like, oh. And so this playing allows our subconscious mind to begin to work effortlessly for us. We also need to be reading. As I said, Benjamin Franklin was reading early in the morning, and he would be reading classics of the day. And there's so many classics we can read. And what's great about the classics is they are rich stories. They have rich characters, and they have people of high moral character, and they have people of low moral character, and they have people who are blended of both. And we can see ourselves in them, and we aspire to be like this person, and we can recognize that this is not a good thing. And so these are very, very good ways for us to get into characters and get into attributes and characteristics that we would like to model and emulate. Heroic figures, if you would. The other thing is there are books out there, and there's an abundance of them, books about how to do what you want to do. There's nothing that you want to accomplish in your life. There's nothing you want to do that somebody else hasn't already done. And so this is a really, really important thing for you to think about, is find a book about how to build a business, or how to get out of debt, or how to save $1 million, or how to go to Europe on a shoestring, on a tight budget. You know, there are books out there that will tell you exactly how to do what you do. Napoleon Hill wrote this book, Think and Grow Rich, and basically what he did is he had an assignment to go interview all of the major, the most wealthy people in the world at the time, the big capitalists, particularly from American early industry. And he went and talked to these captains of industry and talked to them about what did they do, how did they get there, what were their daily steps in order to become the person that they become and build these lasting businesses. And so he wrote it down. And so we can go and read his work and literally get quotes from some of the captains of industry at the time. And so it's very, very important that we read and inspire our minds. Now, this seems obvious, or maybe not, but we need to make sure that we're eating well. If we want to get the most out of our body, which means if we want to get the most out of our brain, because our brain and our body are not separate, we can toxify our body, but if we do that, we're toxifying our brain. So if we're taking medications, we are dulling our body and we're dulling our brain. If we're eating highly processed foods and things that are not good for us, we're dulling and making our body less effective, and at the same time making our brain less effective. There are many illnesses that are deteriorating illnesses of the brain that are associated with the foods we eat and the medications we've been taking. So we need, in order to be highly functioning people, we need to be eating well. And that's going back to what the lady at the beginning, Joanna, said. There's lots of highly nutritious food that's available to us, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be healthy, and it's going to build our bodies. It's going to make my mind sharper, my imagination sharper, so that I can be the best that I can be, so that my intellect can be carried around in a very, very healthy, attractive, well-moving, aging slowly type of body. The other thing is we need to move well. And that means we need to exercise. We need to get out and take walks and climb the mountain, and then take hikes, and maybe put it up. One of our side goals would be to climb all out here in New England, to climb all of the mountains of what we call the President's Mountains that are out here, Mount Washington and Mount Lincoln, and you know, all those great hikes that we can take here and take all the peaks in the Adirondacks as well. So those could be goals that would help us to move well. You might want to take up a dance class, be in Zumba, but anything that would make our muscles move, make our heart work a little harder, make our respiration increase, make us perspire a little bit. It challenges our nervous system, and challenges to our nervous system and to our muscles, again, is nourishment for our brain, our thinker, okay? The other thing, to go along with this, we need to think well. We need to start our day, and maybe a couple times a day, go over affirmations. For instance, we start our day with affirmations. It's not dissimilar to what we have here, where this says my body's getting stronger, slimmer, and healthier every day. I'll just share a couple of ours. When we start a day, we say, I'm promising myself I'm so strong that nothing can disturb my peace of mind. I'm giving so much time to the improvement of myself that I have no time to criticize others. A behavior, a choice I'm making not to criticize others. I'm going to work on myself. I'm looking only for the best and working only for the best and expecting only the best in my life. So those are the kind of affirmations that we share in our office together. We can also have personal mission statements, and we can have business mission statements that help us to move ourselves towards where we want to go. For instance, I'll just share our business mission statement here at the clinics. We teach the value of spinal health, the dangers of subluxation, that's a misalignment in the spine, the benefits of corrective care, and the rewards of lifetime wellness. By educating and adjusting as many families as possible, we lead our community on their journey toward optimal health and performance. This is our life-saving mission. So we start our day with this, and it helps us to reframe what we're going to do, and helps us to get rid of the negative stuff. It helps us get rid of the argument we had before we left with one of the kids or with our spouse. It helps me to forget about some of the other things that are troubling me in other areas of my life. It helps me to get refocused here. And it helps me to decide when certain things come across my path and somebody is trying to market something to me, they're trying to bring something into my life that they tell me is going to be better for my life. And yet when I measure it up against my mission statement, I can say, oh, that will help me fulfill my mission. Or I can look at my mission statement and say, oh, you know what? They're offering me something and telling me it's going to make my life better, but it doesn't help me fulfill my mission, so I'm not going to do that. So a mission statement helps us to stay very focused on what we're going to do. On that journey towards the Grand Canyon, it would be helpful to get up every single morning. I'm going to make 700 miles today on my way towards the Grand Canyon. And that way, when something comes up and I see the shiny object over here and I see, oh, there's a side road that'll take me over to this particular thing, I can remind myself, hey, I said I was going to make 700 miles on my way to the Grand Canyon, but this does not help me. It doesn't enrich my experience. And so I can put it aside. Or I can decide that it actually is something that's beneficial and will be congruent with what I'm trying to do by getting to the Grand Canyon. So we use a mission statement to help us to stay on our goals. Next thing, this might not seem so obvious, but chiropractic can be an important part of you achieving your goals. Now, I've got a list here. Chiropractic does a number of things. It improves your health. And if you have a healthy body, it's one of the most important resources you have, and having a healthy body can help you achieve your goal. Getting enough sleep is important. Chiropractic has been shown to improve the quality of people's sleep. It has shown that it decreases stress. It has shown that it improves happiness because people are having less pain. It shows that it has improved their well-being. The research shows that people under chiropractic care regularly have a better immune system. It can improve your strength. It can improve your life, your mobility, your flexibility. It can improve your golf game. It can help improve so many areas in other parts of your life that allows you to really have a lot of energy to direct towards your ultimate goal. It also, on the other hand, chiropractic decreases disease. People find that when they're under chiropractic care, they see their medical doctors less often. They have fewer illnesses. They catch flu less often. They have fewer aches and pains. They recover from injuries faster and often prevent injuries. It improves bad posture. We know that bad posture lowers our performance, lowers our energy, and literally there's an association between bad posture and things like depression and anxiety. And we can help people stay away from prescription drug use. We had a number of people recently who, because of their chiropractic care, they've been able to get off of prescription drugs. What does that do to their mental health and their capacity to really clearly envision their future? It's an amazing thing. So chiropractic is an important part of this process of getting better. And then we want to refuel and re-energize. After getting rest and refueling, you're more apt to see the world in a positive light, okay? It's very important to eat the right kind of foods that build your body. And sleep is also an important thing because that's when the body repairs itself. It puts us in a better mood. We see the more positive side of things. We're more able to access our creativity and our problem-solving capabilities. And just as a side note, there was a study done at the Columbia Business School, and in this study, what they did was they looked at parole boards, the boards that meet to decide whether or not someone should be able to get out of prison early, okay? And what they found out that before lunch, only 20% of the applicants got their sentences shortened. After lunch, after the parole board was satisfied and kind of feeling comfortable and relaxed after a nice lunch, 60% of the people who had their hearings got their sentences shortened. Now, that doesn't seem fair, but those are the numbers. So, God forbid I ever end up in prison. But if I am in prison and I'm applying to the parole board and I want to see if I can get out early, I want to have my meetings scheduled in the afternoon because there's a 40% better chance I'm going to get out early if my hearing is in the afternoon. It's an incredible number. So the next thing is we need to literally visualize what we stand to gain. We need to start thinking about what does it look like to become the person who's master of my dreams. So we need to get a vision so that we can literally live our lives to the highest potential. So now's the time to see yourself. Now's the time to look at yourself in the mirror. And what do you see? I love this picture of the cat looking in the mirror, and what he sees staring back at him is the king of the savannah, the mighty lion, the king of the pack, if you will, and regal and strong and intimidating. That's how this cat sees himself. And we need to look at our future and look in the mirror and see what we've got. So we need to say, what does it look like? What does it feel like to have reached my dreams? What does it feel like to literally not be stressing about money? What does it feel like to walk around in a body that is firm and strong, and a body that can do 20 chin-ups and 100 push-ups and 50 burpees? What does that feel like? What does it feel like walking around in my clothes that are loose, but they're smaller than they used to be? What does this mean for my family if I'm more healthy? Wow, I've got more energy to play with the kids. I'm more able to get down on the floor and play with my grandson, and maybe I'll be able to get down on the floor and play with my great grandson someday. What does this mean to my friends? That means that I'm able to drop things at the drop of a hat and go help someone because one, I'm available because I've taken care of my things and I've created a life for myself where I'm not always in my job. It means that if I need to, I'm strong enough to go help move a piano. What does this mean for my health and my finances, my relationships, or my career? It can be an incredible thing, and we need to just sit back and imagine and shut our eyes and imagine what does it mean to be debt-free? What does it mean to have, hundreds of thousands or millions in my bank account? What does it mean to have my car paid off? What does it mean to be able to pay for my kids to go to college? What does it mean to be able to get up in the morning and go for a run? What does that feel like? What does it look like? What does it look like when I go to the beach in the summer and I've got a 32-inch waist and I've got broad shoulders? What does it mean to my relationships? Do I still look hot to my wife. Those are the kind of things that we literally need to think about. All those things. You don't necessarily have to share them with someone else, but it's an important thing. So the next thing we have to do is we have to assemble a team, a powerhouse team. And that team could be people who are close to you, but oftentimes it's not. You need to begin looking around for people who can mentor you and who can support you in your goal. I like this quote from Michael Jordan. He says, "Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships." Now, this is an interesting thing coming from Michael Jordan, because when he first burst onto the scene in the NBA, he was a superb talent. And the knock on him was that he could take over a game and he could win a game, but they were not going to win championships because he didn't make the people around him better. So he began to change his focus and kind of shut down a little bit of the Air Jordan stuff that he basically did 100% of the time for every game, and he won a lot of games. But they were not going to become championships until he began to distribute the ball and to make other people better and challenge them in practice and goad them to do better in practice and make them all better. And so there's a number of people on those teams that he played with who were stars next to his bright, shining star. They were still stars on this fabulous Chicago Bulls team. But when they went to other places, none of them were stars. He made them better. And we need to find people who will make us better. And we need to make one of our goals is that we make the people around us better too. So we need to associate with people who've already done the thing that we want to do. So I hang out with chiropractors who've already done the things that I'm imagining for myself right now. And we need to hang out with people. If we want to be fit, we need to hang out with people who are fit. We need to eat like the people who are fit. And we need to give them permission to hold us accountable. When we're sitting down to eat with them and they're fit and we're wanting to eat something that's not good for us, we need to give them permission to say, "Hey, I thought you wanted to be fit, so you can't eat that. I noticed you haven't been working out lately, so you need to get back in the gym." And so get yourself a team of people that you can be accountable to. You'll help them and they'll help you. Okay? Very important thing. And then you need to be so clear on your why. We've talked about this a little bit, but you just need to be why. Understand what it means to you to accomplish your goals. And when you know your why, then that gives you the power to do this. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give in. Don't ever stop trying. Don't ever sell out. And if you find yourself succumbing to one of the above for a brief moment, pick yourself back up, brush yourself off, whisper a prayer, and start where you left off. But never, ever, ever give up. I love this quote by Rochelle Goodrich. So you got to reconnect with your why. What drives you? Go back and think it over again at the beginning and think it over again at the end. Because I like what Simon Sinek says here. He's done a lot of work on how to find your why and why it's so important to your business. But he says working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. So we could be working in a job that we don't care about, and it's stressful, and we're just existing. Or working hard for something that we love is called passion. So I can tell you honestly that I love my job. I love coming to work. I love putting my hands on people. I love adjusting people. I love coaching people. I love helping them to get more out of themselves. I love doing this webinar where I'm giving you some information that can maybe help you change your life. I love that. And so it's never tiring to do what I love. So ask yourself whatever it is. And again, these are example questions, but you need to figure out what it is you want and then ask the why associated with that. So since we've been talking about why become a millionaire, because I want to help people. I want to be debt free. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to give something to my kids when I pass from this earth. Why better relationships? Because relationships are the most important thing to me. Because I want to be married to the same person my whole life. Because I want to be in relationship with my kids and my grandkids. I want to maintain my best friendships for the rest of my life. And I want to keep building relationships. I believe relationships will help me to live a long time. And that leads into the next thing. Why improve my health? Because I like feeling good. I like getting up in the morning and not aching. I like being able to be flexible. I like being able to hit a golf ball farther as I approach my 60s than I did when I was in my 30s and my 40s. I like not taking medications. I like having my mind free of medications. I like feeling relaxed. I like what it means to be healthy. Now, I don't really want to change my career. I might change how I do my career, but I'm thinking in terms of I love adjusting people, but I know that I won't be able to do it forever, but I still want to be in this business. And so I'm thinking about how do I replace myself and still be in this business? So I have to figure out why. And one of the whys is because I want to build something that will last forever because I know that I won't. And so I have to change my relationship with this career at some point in time and bring other people in to do what I do. Well, maybe I just handle administrative stuff so that they can be free to do what they do. So I have to figure out and make sure that is very clear in my mind as I set myself up to do these other things. And you need to do the same thing in your life. So we need to get certain about what we want and our why. And we need to change our story. You see, your new story can move you forward rather than your old story that holds you back. So let's go back and revisit Mary and Joanna. And I asked the question earlier, which one is going to be more successful? The truth of the matter is it doesn't matter how they thought, negative or positive. It doesn't matter. Not completely, because the negative person can still take the action steps that are necessary. She can admit that it's hard and it's limiting, and she can eat the hard and limiting diet, and she can go to the gym and do the hard, crappy, awful workouts, and she can lose weight, and she can reach her goal. And the other person can do all those things, but take it from the point of view that it's easy, and it's fun, and it's rewarding, and it's energizing, and she can lose her 25 pounds as well. But conversely, the person with a positive thinking, Joanna, could say all the right things and affirm herself and about all the right things and intellectually know all the right things. But when she sits down at the table, she makes the wrong choices. And when she gets up in the morning, she decides not to go to the gym. And so even with her positive thinking, if she doesn't match it with positive emotions and positive actions, she can still fail. So I want to prefer to think that both these ladies may have had success. So what I want to finish with is that success is within your reach. It is something that you can have. You have to define what success is for you, and you have to define it in every area of your life, whether it's your personal, your work, your financial, your retirement, your health, your athleticism, whatever it is, you have to define what it is. You could be so specific that it has to do with your golf game or your tennis game. You could say, I want to be the best at my age at the golf course. I want to be the best at my golf course, and figure out what success means for you and what that's going to look like, and then map out the direction, the direction in order to get there, what it takes to get there. And you will be able to see yourself improve and move along that track. So I'm so excited that you spent this time with me, and I want you to know that we're here for you. Obviously, because it's the internet, this could go a lot of places. I hope that there's some people within driving distance of our office who will have heard this, and if this meant something to you, that you will share with other people who are within driving distance of our office. We have 4 of them, and so that covers a lot of the state of Vermont. And so I want you to know that we're here for you, and we would love to be able to coach you, to support you, to encourage you, whatever it is. We're here for you because it's our singular focus to improve the quality of your life and your health for every person we encounter. And we understand that you have to think right, and you have to have the right beliefs, and you have to have the right emotions, and then you got to take the right steps. And the primary thing we do here, besides the coaching and stuff like this, is we will help you to eat right, to think right, and to move right using chiropractic adjustments that will help you to stimulate your nervous system, make your nervous system work better, make your spine work better, make you more flexible, and will help you to be more healthy so that you can apply that health, use that resource to your own betterment. So thank you so much for spending this time with us. I look forward to hearing from you soon. If you like this, share it. Thank you very much.